For centuries, the kraken was the most famous sea monster in the world. Sailors described a creature so large it could be mistaken for an... There is a country where people eat soup for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and will argue with a straight face that this is the most civilized way to live. There is another where a dish made from nothing but grated potatoes and pork fat is considered a national treasure. And then there is a place where the color of your soup, deep, blood red, almost unsettling, tells the entire story of who these people are and where they came from. We are not talking about France, not Italy, not any country plastered across food magazines or filling the menus of high-end restaurants worldwide. We are talking about a stretch of the world running from the icy forests of Russia down through the mountains of the Balkans to the warm coast of the Adriatic Sea, a region home to hundreds of millions of people, thousands of years of history, and some of the most underrated food on the planet. Most people can name 5 Italian dishes without thinking. Ask them to name one Belarusian dish. The silence says everything. That changes right now. Russia first. Russian food was not designed in a kitchen. It was designed by the land itself, by 8-month winters that froze the ground solid, by forests so dense that farming was a gamble every single season. The Russian oven, the pech, was the center of the home. Families slept on top of it in winter. It heated the house and slow-cooked everything inside it. That is why Russian cuisine is built around patience. Baked pies, slow soups, boiled dumplings. Food that rewards you for waiting. Soup in Russia is not a starter. It is a philosophy. Shchi, cabbage soup, has been eaten here for over 1,000 years. Made from fresh cabbage in summer, from fermented sour cabbage in winter, which changes everything about its flavor. It was the soup of peasants and czars alike, crossing class lines that almost nothing else could cross. Then there is okroshka, a cold soup made with diced vegetables, meat, eggs, and kvass, a fermented bread drink that is fizzy, sour, and unlike anything else in the world. Pouring it over vegetables and calling it soup is either madness or genius. Russians settled that debate centuries ago. Pelmeni deserve global fame. Small parcels of thin dough wrapped around seasoned minced meat, boiled and served with cold sour cream. The contrast between the hot yielding dough, the dense savory filling, and the cool sharp cream is one of those combinations that feels inevitable once you experience it. And Russian pies, especially Kurnik, the historic wedding pie filled with chicken and layered internally with thin pancakes, show a culture that treats baking as a serious art form. Ukraine built its food around abundance, not survival. The Ukrainian steppe is some of the most fertile farmland on earth, and Borsch is its greatest creation, not just a great Ukrainian dish, one of the great soups of human civilization. Beets give it that extraordinary crimson color. Meat broth, cabbage, potatoes, carrots, onions, and tomatoes build its body. Sour cream swirls through it at the end, and you never eat borscht alone. You eat it with pampushki, soft garlic herb rolls that you tear and drag through the bowl. Varenyky, dumplings filled with potato and onion, or cheese or cherries, show how one simple dough form can contain an entire cuisine's range. Belarus did something no other country did. It built a complete culinary civilization around the potato. Draniki, crispy potato pancakes fried in pork fat, eaten hot with cold sour cream, are the national dish. The contrast of shattering golden crust against cool cream is deeply satisfying in the way that only very simple food, executed perfectly, can ever be. Poland is built on comfort. Zurek is a sour rye soup, fermented, funky, complex, loaded with white sausage, potato, and boiled egg, sometimes served inside a hollowed bread bowl that softens from the inside as you eat. Bigos is a slow-cooked stew of sauerkraut, smoked sausage, and pork that tastes better every time it is reheated. By day 3, it is extraordinary. And pierogi, dumplings filled with potato and cheese, or mushroom and sauerkraut, or sweet cherries, are not just food in Poland. They are ritual, made at Christmas, eaten at celebrations, cooked when someone needs comfort. Czech cuisine is built around sauce and the bread dumpling, a large boiled loaf sliced into rounds, designed specifically to absorb meat juices. Svikova, braised beef in a creamy vegetable sauce with a spoonful of cranberry jam, is the dish that proves this. The jam seems wrong until you taste it, then it seems obvious. The Balkans is where Slavic cuisine gets louder and smokier. Serbian Pljeskavica, a large flat-seasoned meat patty grilled over open flame, served with kajmak, a rich dairy spread somewhere between cream and soft cheese, is one of the region's defining dishes. Cevapi, small grilled sausages in flatbread with raw onion, are nearly impossible to stop eating. Ajvar, a roasted red pepper spread made every autumn and jarred for winter, ties the Serbian table together and goes with almost everything. Bosnia approaches food with patience. Bosanski lonak, the Bosnian pot, layers beef and vegetables in a clay vessel with no added water. Everything slow cooks in its own juices for hours. The result is deeply complex from the simplest of ingredients. Burek, flaky phyllo pastry filled with spiced minced meat, is one of the Ottoman Empire's greatest culinary legacies, made here with particular skill and pride. Croatia is one country with two completely different food worlds. Inland, hearty Central European stews. On the Adriatic coast, Mediterranean food entirely, olive oil, fresh fish, seafood. Crni Rizot, black risotto colored by cuttlefish ink, is visually dramatic and intensely oceanic. Pasticada, beef marinated for days in wine and vinegar, then slow cooked until deeply rich, is the celebration dish of the coast. Montenegro's negushkom pursuit, dry-cured smoked ham from a single mountain village, air-dried in mountain winds, is by any measure one of the great cured meats of Europe. Virtually nobody outside the region has tasted it. Slovakia's Bryndzove Halusky, tiny potato dumplings tossed with sharp sheep's milk cheese and topped with fried bacon, is mountain food in its purest form, a dish that tastes exactly like the place it comes from. Bulgaria has one of the world's great dairy traditions. Its yogurt, sharper and more complex than anything sold in Western supermarkets, uses a bacterial culture named after the country itself. Shopska salad, made from tomatoes, cucumber, peppers, onion, and blanketed in grated white cheese, is deceptively simple and somehow greater than the sum of its parts every single time. North Macedonia builds everything around the pepper. Tavche gravche, white beans baked in a clay pan with peppers and onions, is the national dish and the perfect expression of a cuisine that proves slow heat and simple ingredients are all you ever really need. Here is the thought that stays with you after going through all of this. Every single one of these cuisines tells the same story through completely different ingredients. Food is a record, the most democratic, most immediate record of human history that exists. You can sit down with a bowl of Borsch or a plate of Pelmeni and feel, even across centuries, what it meant to live in that place, in that climate, with those ingredients. The dark rye bread of Belarus, the blood-red soup of Ukraine, the smoke-cured ham of Montenegro. These are not just foods, they are documents, things that ordinary people protected and carried forward across wars, famines, and the collapse of empires because they understood that to lose the food is to lose a piece of the self. The next time someone asks where to eat, go further east than you planned. Order the Borsch, get the Pierogi, try the cured ham if someone offers it. The most interesting tables in the world are often the ones you were not expecting to find. This has been BITE Audit. We will see you at the next one.